Well, good afternoon, my beautiful people here on the YT. Hopefully we're coming in crystal clear. No pun intended. Crystal clear on the vertical as well as the horizontal. It's nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime. We're covering the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. I am crunched for time today. As you guys can imagine, we're crunching 3 shows into once. We're trying to get back on our schedule, which we have faltered from for quite some time. So our show times are 7, 1, and 6. 7, 1, and 6. 7, I think we're going to be designating this case to Rebecca Park for the foreseeable future. This is a case that has kind of garnered our attention. It's a little crazy, a little wild, and it's every time we turn around, some new information is coming out about that case, and we just want to know what's going on. Was the fiance or the sister involved in this crime? And we're hearing a little from the sister this morning, and I gotta tell you, I'm not really jiving with the sis, okay? I'm not jiving with the sis at all. I don't know why. Maybe she has some knowledge. Maybe she was manipulated. I am unsure. Wow, Deanna! Good gracious, been with me for 14 whole months. Bless you, my child. Bless you. The storm is upon us, the brouhaha. I do not have my other buttons this morning. We were using it and I forgot to charge it up. So it's completely dead, so I don't have it to plug in here. So we're just going to be on our soundboard, which has, a little bit here. We haven't strolled up into the chat in a while, so we're strolling. We're just back on the old stroll, that's all. We're back on the old stroll. So if you guys are new to this case or whatever the case may be, this is Lilly and Jack. We do not cover on the Bullhorn Betty channel. We don't cover out-of-country cases, okay? We really don't. The only reason why we're really covering this case, in all fairness, is because this was an active case when we first started covering it. It was a 2 children had disappeared, and we figured if there was any way for us to, lend a hand to help find these Canadian children, then we would. If we can just bring some attention to it. We knew we had some Canadian visitors and viewership on this channel. And so we decided to run just to help out. We don't really ever get any cases from Canada. This was our first case, for the show in our history. Not that Canada doesn't have crime. They do. It's just not, we get crazy crime. They don't really have the kind of crazy we got in the States. Okay. I don't think there's a whole lot of people we're just crazy people. Okay. Which is pretty ironic seeing how we're from the most civilized country in the world. Allegedly, at least that's what our government tries to put in our brains. Right. How much of that is true? I don't know. They try to cover and hide everything they blessed can from us, so we're living in a bubble, right? So whatever the case may be, I'm not going to get into it. However, this case was not a case that we normally cover, but once we got into it, once we started, realizing this case defies logic, we were kind of already stuck, in a sense. Hey, Laura, it's nice to see ya. Nice to see you. I'm always in the bushes. That's okay. We love you. We love you. But at the end of the day, it was one of these cases that got our attention. We were here to help out, to put these kids' faces on the ether and try to push and see if we can help Canadian, family out. And it was just something that defied logic, and it got our attention. And so now we're kind of stuck, right? We're here. This thing's not making sense. We're seeing moms interviewed, and we're like, oh, what the hell's going on here? What kind of mom is that? Then we're hearing Daniel, and we're like, okay, now we're hearing from other people saying substances are in here, and it's like, okay, here we go, right? And we've been here ever since. And we kind of been watching because we're just waiting for the kids to be found, right? That's really what I was here for. I was waiting for the kids to be found. Waiting for the kids to be found. And the kids were never found. And so this dragged on. So then now we're kind of hooked into it. What is Daniel going to say today, right? I mean, that really was why we're here. Every single day, Daniel was on the screen talking about something. What is Daniel going to say today? What is Daniel going to say today? Hey, Sandy, happy Friday to you too. Happy Friday to you too. Guys that coming in, if you guys were not with me this morning, some of you guys were not. Don't forget we did a show early this morning and it was on Rebecca Parks. So if you guys are kind of just diddling your feet into the Rebecca Parks case, and you want some new information, that we did kind of break some new information. We really didn't. It's been broke. It's been broke for a while. We just missed it. Okay. And the breaking news in Rebecca Parks' case is that her son is deceased. Okay. Her son is deceased. We missed that. We've been speculating where this child could be. While we don't have the child and we don't know where the child is, we missed the fact that they told the courts that this child lost their life during this event. So the child's deceased. So if you guys didn't get that, go back and check that out. I tried to keep that. It kind of went over. We're trying to keep these shows, especially when we do 3 shows a day, about an hour, maybe 2 hours. This is one that's going to most likely spill over to 2 hours. I will not lie to you. We've got a lot to go over in the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case because we got to bring you guys to where we are. So as you guys see, both vertical and landscape or horizontal computer, okay, phone or computer, whichever mode you're seeing me on, we should have the timeline for Lilly and Jack, okay? And this is the very basic timeline as we know it, okay? So this was the week that they disappeared. Many people want to know what happened. They went to school Monday. They went to school Tuesday. Wednesday, they were not in school, but they were not in school because the school was closed. It was not a school day. The school was closed. And then Thursday, when the kids were supposed to go back, they did not. They were called in sick. And they were also called in sick on Friday, hours before they were reported missing and never seen again. Now, there is one caveat here. We heard that Lilly had a cough. I'm not sure if Lilly had a cough because we learned from Daniel Martell that Lilly caught a black eye the night before. Okay? Now, the story he provides on how this young girl got a black eye does not make sense to me. Okay? But, you know, whatever the case may be, this is the story. This is where we are. This is where the case picks up, okay? So children were reported missing around 10 a.m. on Friday, May 2nd, and they have never been seen or heard from since. There has not been one singular item that they allegedly left the house with that have been found out in the woods either, okay? So over there on May 2nd, you will see I've got pink boots, a white and strawberry backpack, and blue dinosaur boots. These are the boots the kids were wearing. This is the backpack that the children were allegedly left home. None of these items, which would be the first thing young children lose out in the woods, none of these items that the parents stated that they left the home with have ever been recovered, with the exception of a pink boot being found under a couch inside their home. Now, we also have a situation of a pink blanket. But before we get too far ahead in this case, we're going to take you guys back in time. We're going back to the day this happened, okay? Well, kind of, sort of. We're going back to May 3rd. We're going back to the one and only interview provided by Malehya Brooks-Murray. Now, as I said, this is going to be shocking information, and I think the information I'm going to be disclosing to you, which I found out last night on the Drunk Turkey show, is going to make you a little irate, okay? I think everybody is going to be a little offended, not like Malehya has really stopped defending us since she ran off from home, since she decided to go missing or run. And, you know, everybody's saying she's not running from the law. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call it. But she's nowhere to be found. So, Daniel with the Drunk Turkey show, I don't know what you call her behavior, but she ain't nowhere to be found. Okay, my friend? Just saying. Just saying. All right. So let's go ahead and get started and get kicked off on what we are going to be bringing up here. Let me see if I can get this up. There we go. Let me see if we can get it up on here. Tell me I put it up on here. I did not put it up on here, so I'm going to have to share my screen just like that. Maybe I'll do it this way. There you go. Then you guys can see me. You can't really see me too much over here on the horizontal, but I've just moved myself, so this should fix our problem here on the horizontal stream. Okay, guys, so this is Daniel. This is Daniel with the Drunk Turkey Show. I haven't, I've heard of him in the past. Don't know much about him, but I did stumble across him when he had the interview with Daniel Martell. Now, I have stumbled across his show in the past, like with the Idaho 4, and he had like 3 guys up there, and it seemed like a frat party on here, so it kind of turned me off in all fairness. I only came on his show like 1 or 2 times just because I heard about him and stuff like that, and he had come up into my For You, so I plugged in just to see who it was, and when I saw him and his friends on there, I'm like, okay, they're, I didn't see what the whole thing was of him being in the true crime genre. It seemed like he was in the, what this is just my personal, okay, I realize why he's here now, okay, but this is just giving you guys a little history. Hey Tina, it's nice to see you. Oh, well, that's a different rumor than the one we're going to be going over. That's but we'll go over it. But anyways, so I get here and I see this whole thing with Daniel Martell, and I'm like, okay, now I kind of see, he's a great interviewer. I'm very judgmental. If you guys don't know anything about Bullhorn Betty, I'm a very judgmental broad. Okay, so I judge everything. I look at things. Is this performing well? Is this performing poorly? How is he doing? Is he shutting his mouth? Is he asking right questions? So I'm analyzing all of this. Not that I'm an expert, but I know what I want to know about these cases, right? So I gauge it based on, did I get some useful information out of the work that they just did? And I did. So I kind of got it then. At that point, I realized who Daniel was. He seems like he's a great interviewer. Maybe I just caught him on a couple of days when they were just drinking and having a good old time. I don't know. But it seemed like a frat party. If you guys know anything about me, I'm not really the party animal. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but I'm just not the party animal where we want to go hang around and drink and have a woo-hoo, yeah, right? I'm not that kind of girl, okay? So it just wasn't my cup of tea at that time, but this is. How he handled this interview, it was. But we're not going to stop here. We got to go back a little bit, okay? And so we're going to be going back to, of course, Malehya Brooks-Murray. Malehya Brooks-Murray is the mother of these children, okay? And she took off very early on in this case, which just unnerved a lot of people. Hey, April, it's nice to see you. Mama, it's nice to see you. Pebbles, good afternoon. Vicky, Tammy, it's nice to see you. Melanie, everybody else, I don't think I said hi to you guys in chat, but hey. I kind of wanted to get through here because we have a lot to go over, and I got a mouthful to go through, right? So, Malehya Brooks-Murray shocked a lot of people with her behavior. One, the way she acted in it. Thought I heard a whimper. But the way she acted in this interview, and then literally splitting, like she took off and never came back again after this interview. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys understand what we're dealing with here. Okay, I'm not digging the mom. Me and the mom, just like me and Sis over on Rebecca Park's case, we ain't vibing. Okay, I have a vibe problem with this chick here. Okay, I got a vibe problem with this chick here. We went back to her history. We found and were one of the first channels to drop some of her younger videos. We did some good due diligence in this case, and we were able to drop some of her childhood videos right here on this show. We broke those, okay? And she seemed very normal, but she didn't. She seemed very depressed a little bit. She was trying to make herself feel good, but she's like, yeah, I got dogs and a cat and a roof over my head, I guess. But you can tell it was kind of depressy a little bit. And that gives us a little insight on her personality way back then, long before she had children. Of course, now she has children. We've heard about postpartum depression. We heard about how she was after she had Jack with Cody. Cody had acknowledged, and his mother Belinda Gray acknowledged this change of her after having children. We also heard kind of sort of about this change from Daniel Martel after she had Meadow as well. So it seems like she goes through some type of change, after she has a child. And people are like, well, this Meadow was 16 months old when she's here. Could she really be in postpartum depression? And the short answer of that is yes, she could be. Okay, but there's something not right with this mother. Okay, whether it's substance abuse, whether she had a part or a hand in why her children are missing, whatever the case may be, in my opinion, this mother knows more. Okay, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change my mind until she comes and answers some damn questions. And right now, she's been hiding and lying about these children for a really long time. I don't give a rat's ass if she's cooperating with law enforcement or not. I doubt she is. But her behavior has been atrocious as a mother. This is what I would call, Malehya, if you're watching, I would call you a piece of shit, okay? I think you are a piece of shit mother. I do not think you should ever have Meadow back in your custody again. You've got a lot of coming up, girl. And I think you are responsible or partly responsible for why you're in this situation to begin with. Okay? And then just to let my audience know, her behavior here from the beginning of this point to now has been atrocious. Okay? I do not like this woman. This woman to me is a problem. Okay? And that's not going to really change too much. Her behavior has been a problem. Her actions have been a problem. She hasn't advocated for her children. As a matter of fact, she took more photos off her Facebook of her children that could have helped identify them than any other person involved in this case. I do not like this woman. Malehya Brooks-Murray, you are lucky you're not in the United States of America. I will tell you, you are a very, very lucky woman, because had you been here, I'd be knocking on your door, okay? I would be outside of your home. And I would not leave until you were arrested or law enforcement threw me in jail. One of the two would happen, okay? That's just how we roll. There's something more here. I will make you climb walls, okay? That's my MO. But she's not in the United States. She's in Canada. I do not have a passport. Malehya will never get the pleasure or displeasure of learning who Bullhorn Betty is. But what we can do here is make sure the story is told about these children. This is a piece of garbage mother, okay? That's what I can tell my audience, a piece of garbage mother. She does not deserve Meadow. She doesn't, in my opinion, with this case, she doesn't deserve to see Meadow. They need to start applying some major pressure to both of these people. Both of these people. And they need to make sure Meadow is not with family. You guys understand, you guys may say, Betty, that's wrong. That's wrong. Look, I'm trying to find 2 children here. Okay? I'm sure law enforcement is trying to find 2 children here. Diplomacy is gone, okay? Law enforcement, the diplomacy aspect of it needs to end, okay? There's no more diplomatic work here. Something's not right. The statistics tell us that we're looking at the right people with mommy and stepdaddy, and we need to start building this case and putting it together, okay? The statistics are driving this case. Could this be an outlier where this truly is an abduction and everybody just missed? Of course it could be. We don't know what happened. But the statistics are so low on a stranger danger abduction, I'm dismissing it, okay? I'm dismissing it because law enforcement has dismissed it. Law enforcement, although they're trying to convince us that this is a missing child, wandering off child, all of their actions, including their silence, proves to us that this is a criminal investigation, and most likely rises to the level of a homicide investigation, if you ask me. I don't know any law enforcement that would be so stupid as to run this particular case just as a missing person case. So the idea that they're just, I don't believe it. All right, let's get moving. Here's Malehya Brooks-Murray.
Full as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we...
Now, you guys got to remember, we just heard Courtney. Did we not? We just heard Courtney Bartholomew yesterday. Did we not? And one of the major things that I pointed out about Courtney is the lack of emotion, the lack of urgency, the lack of concern. right? I want to also notate those same behaviors in Malehya Brooks-Murray. All right?
Tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them, and they happen to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time, and the next thing we knew, it was quiet, and we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside.
I want to go over that. We're going to have to listen to that because in this whole story, that's the same story Daniel says for himself. So let's go back just a few seconds. Listen to this again.
I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids?
So this is going to be a contentious point in this case because Malehya is saying that she's the one that looked at Daniel and said, hey, do you hear the kids? Well, one of the versions that Daniel provided, yes, there's multiple versions of this, okay? So that's already a red flag right there. But Daniel also states that he's the one that looked over at Malehya and said, hey, where are the kids? Do you hear the kids? Okay? This interview, it's always sounded scripted. I think that was one, yes, so monotoned. I think that was one of the most noticeable things about this entire, and many people thought the same thing. But we also had Belinda Gray out there on the scene, and that is the paternal grandmother of these children. And she's from the biological father's side of the family to these two kids, Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Their Cody Sullivan is their father. Cody Sullivan is Belinda Gray's son. You see how that works. So Belinda Gray was out there, and she has gone on several interviews and expressed that once she's seen Malehya leave, she knew. She knew. The moment Malehya left, she knew. That's what she said. She knew.
And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now, but we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued.
The reason why people push for an Amber Alert is because they want to be able to tell their family and friends their child was abducted. Okay? So more times than not, they try to present this as an abducted child to get that Amber Alert so everybody knows they had nothing to do with it. This is a common practice from many parents that I have seen in the past that have done terrible things to their children. Okay, so she went over and above, in my opinion. I think Daniel did too, to try to express how the children would just talk to a stranger. They made it a point, both of them made it a point to say that, and that's always been problematic for me because I feel like they were presenting this in such a way that people could only assume that these children were abducted. I don't like parents driving narratives like that. Usually parents are so busy crying and being distraught about their missing child, they don't have an opportunity to drive narratives. Yet both of these parents did. So just a little food for thought.
Dude, not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe...
Because they don't want to have to explain what happened, right? Because that's where their story starts, changing, and people start asking them questions, and people that do terrible things to children, well, they don't want to answer those questions. They just want law enforcement to do their heavy lifting for them. Give me an Amber Alert so everybody thinks that my child was abducted, so I don't have to explain it to them. That was the real shit. She said the quiet part out loud. She said the quiet part out loud, folks.
Maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home.
Sorrow.
Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's
undiagnosed.
Just, they have,
I don't understand why mommy has not, like we got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and mommy has not done, so we got negligence here, okay? At minimum, if these children were autistic, and they're 6 and 4 years old, and they don't know for definitively, then mommy is neglecting to take them to the child to find out. Okay? How many times have these children been to the doctor? And why was this only brought up just this year for the both of them, right? Because they're unruly children in the school. Why? Because they're probably not getting the proper discipline at home. Why? Because mommy and daddy are too busy strung out.
Issues with school, and they don't catch up with.
Who would leave from a nice home to go live in a freaking trailer with the floors falling out unless they ain't sucking a glass pipe? Cut it out.
The other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds.
My child 4,
and I don't want to go through them
autism,
another night without them.
Waiting list
the last few days are very stressful.
How do they have, whoa. How do they have a waiting list for diagnosis? Why can't you go to just any doctor? Like, I'm not with that. Like, if somebody tells me that I can't go into a doctor for my child, well, I'm going to start reaching out to people maybe in a county over and 2 counties over. I'm not waiting 2 years for a waiting list. Ashley, if you are, maybe you need, because that's a long time, hon. That's a long time, babe. Like, no. Who you need I don't know how it works there, but I'd become a pain in the ass that nobody want to deal with. just to get pushed through. Trust me, I know how to work the system, okay? Just become a pain in the ass. Everybody will just try to get you out of their hair as quickly as possible. That's my secret sauce. How do we get things done? I become a pain in the ass, okay? I become such a pain in the ass and nobody wants to deal with me. They'd rather just get me moved on than have to deal with me, okay? That's what you need to do. That's a long time, honey. Is there specialized doctor? We have changed places twice now. Well, is there maybe a, like, for example, we have Moffitt here, okay, for cancer patients, but our Moffitt, the best Moffitt is in the Panhandle or somewhere up, more north, right? So we commute to the Moffitt up north. Is there like maybe a bigger city that maybe you can call and get in front of a different specialist, maybe in a different, like in the same state, just like a county or 2 over? Like, I think the Moffitt Center, I think it's in Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. It might be in Maitland. If Maitland up there, or is that down south? I can't remember. Anyways, but we commute up there. It's usually like a 4-hour trip to go to Moffitt, the Moffitt Cancer Center. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm hopeful. I mean, if you've been waiting for 2 years, I'm not waiting for 2 years. Okay. I'm not waiting for nothing for 2 years, especially if it's coming down to my children, yeah, I'm not, and I don't expect people. Some people are a little nicer than me. I would be on the phone yelling at people at this point. Okay. Like I do that. That's my thing. I told you guys I'm a screamer. When things don't go my way, I start screaming. I raise my voice, I start screaming. That's my MO. Same here. I have military insurance, hard to get in doctors for my kids. I thought, wait a minute. This is bringing up a whole different ball game here. Are both of you military? And are both of you military and having hard times getting your children seen by military doctors or by TRICARE or VA benefits? And they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing? Because I don't know if you guys know this, maybe you do, but Donald Trump put something in office or something in play a long time ago that you can, if you can't get to your doctor or your doctor can't see you for an extended period of time, you can go see any doctor you want. And if that's not the case, where the heck did that go? Because I remember that being a thing, because Donald Trump will not deal with people being derelict to our military. No, not military. Okay, so we do have one that's military, though. So BHBs, a lot of specialists won't take insurance. For example, it's hard for me with my military insurance to get care. They all want Medicaid. Medicaid is for poor people. Okay? And if they all want Medicaid for poor people instead of military insurance, then there's a lot of Medicaid fraud. And that's something, okay, let me write this down. Somebody needs to know something here. K-Bear, if you can send me an email, write down what problems you're having, please, and send me an email. I will not have that. Tell me what state you're in as well. Don't do it here. Don't do it publicly. But send me an email. Let me know what state you're in. And tell me what you're dealing with your insurance. Actually, there's not much I can do, but there is something I will do when it comes to VA, when it comes to military. That there's not a whole lot. I mean, I don't have a whole lot, but I know who I can get stuff in front of, you know, when it comes to our federal benefits and stuff like that. But that doesn't help you, Ashley, but hopefully it'll help K-Bear. Yeah, send me the details of what you're dealing with here. Let me see what I can do. I mean, I'll get this. I don't like hearing our military insurance is turned down for Medicaid. That tells me that Medicaid is paying entirely too high. This, you know, Medicaid is for our poor. We should be, we're not doing, you know, caviar like we were with our food stamps. Okay, if you guys didn't notice, people like me nip that shit in the bud real quick. We are not paying for people to no, not that poor people or people that don't deserve less, you know, medical treatment, but when you're turning down our military to have welfare, we got a problem. I will not put up with that. Okay, there's just I have a deal, but just send me that. I don't want to get too far off because we're on a time constraint here, and I've only got about 50 more minutes. No, I got about an hour and a half more I can go, but then you know we're pretty much done with the show. So we got about an hour and a half left, so I got to get moving on here. But please, K-Bear, send me and put on there military insurance or, you know, whatever at the top, VA, whatever up there to let me know that that's the issue, because I'm going to have to use that. I'm going to have to move that on up, okay? But no, I don't like that. I want to know what community, and if you want to go as far as telling me what hospital or service provider you're using, you can, but don't feel obligated to do that. You know, if we can get something moving or get some clarification on that, then I'll forward that to you. You can give whoever whatever information you feel comfortable giving to them, but just get me something to get started with, okay? But I don't like that. That's very upsetting for me. All right, guys. So we heard Malehya Brooks-Murray, okay? And now we kind of got this Daniel Martel, you know, here with these kids, and he's about to go on next. I'm not let's just hear what he has to say after this. Let's see.
School, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of...
I don't think mothers' minds always think the worst. I mean, in some cases, yes, but whenever you're dealing with the possibility of your children being deceased, trust me, your mind is not going to allow you to go there without seeing them. I'm sorry, it just won't. You can feel some type of way, but I've known mothers that, you know, they feel the loss at the time the loss happened, whether they knew it or not, but they are absolutely not convinced without actually seeing their child. So, you know,
One of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
The last few days have been very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there.
Wow. I just don't know. I just don't know. And here's one 2 days after. This is a different shirt. That one was on the 4th, the one with the brain. She did hers on the 4th. The 3rd. He did his on the 4th. That was the one you were seeing from the 4th. This is the one from the 5th.
Blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white with strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day.
So no diapers. Still, you know what? So daddy or stepdaddy is saying, hey, you know what? We don't believe that the children would have kept the dirty soiled diaper. So where's the diaper? Okay? That is my first thing. Where's the diaper? We should have found the diaper by now. We should have found the diaper by now. We found no kids, no diapers, no evidence of them being back in the woods. Not one solitary piece of evidence that supports that those kids are in those woods. Or, wandered in those woods. Now, are they in the woods somewhere out there? I do believe they are. I believe they're either underwater or underground because I believe Malehya Brooks-Murray and Daniel Martell, one or both of them, know exactly where these children are and what happened to them. It's hard for me to sway from that. Now, is there a possibility of there being a creep neighbor? Yes, there is. Is there a possibility of there being a creep neighbor that did something to these children, took these children, abducted these children? There is that possibility. I would think that if it's not the parents, it would be a neighbor. Okay? I do not think it's a stranger danger. But the reason why I do not think it's a neighbor is because I believe they would have heard the neighbor come aboard or come on their property. Think about it. They're living in trailers that have paper-thin walls. The grandmother doesn't even have a roof, and the kids don't even have a floor. All right? So I'd have to think, just like they kept saying, oh, we heard this and we heard that, I'd have to think that they would have heard somebody coming onto their property. See, this is the thing. Paranoid people, like the people that use math, they have a lot of energy. Math is one of those things that don't allow you to sleep. Do you understand that? So the psychosis of lack of sleeping does a number to your brain, okay? It screws with your eyes. It screws with what you're seeing with your eyes. It screws with your hearing. You start hearing things that are not there. You start seeing things that are not there. And you are paranoid. That's what math does to you, okay? It is basically sleep deprivation psychosis on steroids, okay? So we know that that was a substance of choice for this particular household. Is Malehya on there or is she not? I believe she is. I don't see a woman staying with a man, uprooting her life out of a nice home to live in a bottomless trailer, out in the middle of nowhere, struggling. I don't know any woman that says, ooh, that's what I want to do with my life. Okay? So there is a reason why she's allowing herself and her children to live like this. This is not how she's accustomed to living, folks. People that are not accustomed to living like this don't live like this, okay? People that are accustomed to living like this are perfectly fine living like this. There's nothing wrong, okay? I'm sorry, there is nothing wrong. People that don't mind living in trailers, they don't mind living in trailers. People that do mind living in trailers, they do mind living in trailers, okay? Trailers are not for everyone, okay? And you may say, Betty, that's a little rude, but you know what? People strive for different things. If this is okay for you, that's perfectly fine. You're the only person you need to satisfy in your life. And trust me, I'm the only person I need to satisfy in my life. That's why I don't really let too many people get to me. Oh, it's nice to see you, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well, Miss Strawberry. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. So, where are we in all of this? This is kind of where Daniel starts expressing some information about no house party. But before we get to this one, do you guys remember this? Do you guys remember this? If you don't know what is behind me, what is behind me? Well, outside of Joseph Morse. It's the photo above him. It's the photo above him. There's been a problem that I've had with this case since the beginning of this case, okay? We learned that the children left home, wandered off, whatever story you would like to tell yourself. The issue that we have here is that mommy left. Of all people, okay? This is where my problem comes in. Mommy left. Mommy left. Mommy left. Mommy left. She left the area she last saw her children. She turned around, walked away, and never turned back. She removed all of her children's photos off her own social media profile so people couldn't see them, even though she's wanting the whole world to look for them. She has done some really questionable things since the very beginning of this case, including going to the beach, having a smile on her face, enjoying her day. I have never met a mom that is missing her babies. Now, you're not talking about adult children. We're talking about 2 young children, 4 and 6 years old. I have never met a mother that could ever even muster a smile, not knowing where one of their children are. Seeing that grief on their face, seeing the pain in their voice. Every time you bring up their child's name, they fall into tears. They fall on their knees. The pain that comes along with not knowing where your child is so immense. It's so immense. And this lady can run away from her children, remove her children's face from her social media profile, and then go call a friend and go out to the beach and have an amazing day. And shame on anybody that dares say how disgusting this behavior is, right? The behavior gets more disgusting, folks. As you guys heard, we do have some updated information in this case. We do. And that information came directly from the Drunk Turkey show last night. It is in the first few moments of his show, so we're not going to have to listen to too much. But I am now partial to Daniel with the Drunk Turkey show. I don't think he's just a frat boy that gets drunk, okay? I just thought I'd throw that out there. That was literally my impression of the Drunk Turkey show for like the first 3 years on this platform. I never understood why anybody would watch his shit. Sorry, Daniel. I'm just saying, I went on your show 3 different times, and every time I went on there, I'm like, this is not my show. This is not my show. This is not my show, right? I was done. I don't know what anybody saw in that man. I really don't. But then, this case came out, and I saw Daniel Martell, and I saw, how he did the interview, and I'm like, okay, so he's not just this frat boy that's just a party animal, right? He actually has some common sense up there in that cranium, right? And this was after he had been attacked by his dog, and I think that's really why I even went on there. I just wanted to see how he was doing, because he almost lost his life. And while I didn't know him, you guys know me, I don't want anybody to ever lose their life, and especially me being a dog lover and knowing that it was his dog dog, his beloved dog, and he ended up having to put his dog down. I know that he was dealing with a lot at that time, and I just wanted to show some support as a content creator. Not that I was necessarily supporting the frat boy stuff, but by this time he was, he was just coming on and kind of chilling and saying he was doing okay, and I just wanted to, to say hi, and I hope he has a speedy recovery and stuff like that. And I guess by me going into his chat to do that, it somehow triggered. So he ended up winding up in my For You page, and so I saw this interview with Daniel Martel, and I clicked on it, and I'm like, okay, all right. So if you guys haven't gone over there and subbed up to the Drunk Turkey Show, please consider doing it. I don't expect you to be around all the time. Some of the stuff is just, it's not my cup of tea. Some of the stuff is, right? So I watch what I can, and I let go of what I do. Hey, lady in red. Well, hello, givers and takers. It's nice to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend as well. But this was the disturbing issue right here, okay? Them being at the beach. We were all upset about that. Like, how the hell can you go to a beach when you haven't even gotten off your ass to look for your children? How many people felt that way? Please, put a 1 in the chat if you felt that way. Put a 2 in the chat if you just think she needs to get. And be honest. If you just think that she needs to, everybody, even under the most stressful situation, should have a day at the beach. Even though they ran away from their children, removed their children's faces off all of their social media, and then winds up at a beach. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm a 1. I think she's a piece of shit. Okay, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna hold back. Okay, but please be honest. I just think it's overboard. Hello, Angela. It's nice to see you. Yeah. Oh, TD Dean, it's nice to see ya. You snuck in. I didn't see you there. Jewel, it's nice to see you, Mama. Hey. Tina, Melanie, Linda, it's nice to see ya. Thank you. Like, I just think I think this is horrible. Like, the lady ran away from where the last time she saw her, never went back there again. You weren't even curious. Like, I'm sorry. You know what? And forgive me for saying this, but I have not given birth to my children, right? I have stepchildren. Those stepchildren have grandchildren. And I'm just sitting. I mean, I have a motherly attachment to them. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have that biological attachment to them. And so I have to put myself in a situation where, what would I do if they disappeared? And they disappeared from this area. I wouldn't leave that area until and this is as a person that didn't give birth to any of these kids. And I just don't see myself leaving that area without going over every single square inch. If it took me 5 years, 10 years, I don't care. I don't see me as my family members being lost and me knowing where they were lost at and me not being there until I found them. I don't know that side of people, right? Because I truly would never do that. I would never, ever, ever do that. I would be there until they came home. We do not leave anybody behind. Maybe that's for the military family in me. Maybe that's something, I don't know. But we don't leave anybody behind, especially our own. I wouldn't be at the beach. Amen. Well, guys, it gets worse than that. Okay? She's never looked for her children. Let's go over the facts here. Okay? Her children disappeared May 2nd. She split May 3rd. Let me repeat that again. The children disappeared on May 2nd. She split on May 3rd. She split on May 3rd, the day after. And that's it. Okay? She's got time to go to the beach. She's got time to go out and drink. She's got time to party. Oh, and the newest revelations. Oh, yeah. She got time to date. Oh, yeah. She has time to try to make another baby, but you can't go find her missing babies. Now, I'm not saying she's pregnant, but she is having a little too much fun, if you ask me, for a woman that has none of her 3 children. None of her 3 children. Okay? Malehya Brooks-Murray went from being a good mom to being a piece of shit. Okay? Let's listen.
I've known for some time now that Malehya actually was, she wasn't at home. You know, some of these folks and guys, you know, following somebody and, you know, checking where her car is.
First of all, let me just say this, Daniel, before we get into this. Until somebody has receipts, I don't listen to any suspect in a crime saying that they're being followed and stuff, because I find out people that are suspects in a crime are very paranoid, okay? And they also like to say that they are being threatened and stuff as an excuse to explain why they need to leave a certain area when they should probably just sit tight. So I never believe when they say they're being threatened or anything like that, unless they bring the receipts and show the threats. I don't believe a damn thing that they say. So just putting that caveat on here, I'm going to let Daniel finish up what he was saying.
And following her car from one place to another place and all these other things. That's a slippery slope to stalking.
Yes, it is.
And kind of dangerous.
But I don't believe
you know, you can freak somebody out that way.
I do not believe they're doing that.
You know, some folks been following her car around apparently and have realized that
apparently. Where's the evidence? Everybody this day and age has a cell phone. If they're being followed, everybody should pick up a phone and take a picture. Now, I was being followed, and guess what? We have receipts for me being followed. When I was being stalked, guess what? We had receipts for that, did we not? So, how does she not have these receipts? Daniel, please don't listen to her. Because a suspect will lie to your face, but I think he's ex-law enforcement or current law enforcement or whatever the case may be. So I think he already knows that. But I do agree with him, and I think he's just setting the stage that if you are doing these things, which, you know, people do have legitimate purposes for following somebody and do have legitimate purposes for going up and knocking on somebody's door. And those legitimate purposes are protected by law. You can do those activities without being called a harasser or a stalker or anything like that. You just have to make sure that you have a right to do those things before you do them. But he is absolutely right. Doing those things is a slippery slope to stalking, especially when you're not licensed or you don't have the job to support why you're doing it. And many people that do it do not have the rights to do it.
She's been somewhat MIA. Now, from what I understand is, and I think a lot of people are pointing to the fact that, or the possibility that she's with some guy. That's not entirely true. Now, is there a guy in her life? I don't know. Possibly.
Yes. The answer is 99.9% she is dating a new guy. This is a problem for me. This is a huge problem. This is a moral problem for me. This is an integrity problem for me. And this is why I have no problem calling her a piece of shit now. Because how dare you? How frickin' dare you? You call your kids in missing. You disappear and never come back. You go to the beach, you party your little ass off, and then you start having sex with somebody else while your children are missing, potentially getting pregnant with yet a 4th child that you're not taking care of. There is something wrong with Malehya Brooks-Murray. She is a messed up individual. She is one messed up individual. Could she harm her children? You bet your ass she could. Because no woman that I know could ever turn their back on their missing children and start going to the beach partying and start screwing somebody else. It's disgusting. It's deplorable. And you, my friend, are starting to appear to be a monster. A monster. Just saying.
I haven't talked to Malehya herself. I've talked to people who know her. One person says it's possible, but it's not like anything serious, which even if she...
I don't think a woman that's missing children, that has 3 children and not one child with her, 2 of them are missing, the largest manhunt in Nova Scotia history, and you're out bopping men. I'm sorry. Whether it's serious or not, I've got a problem with the whole action. You have all this time to go search for a man, but not your own freaking children. This lady's lost her damn mind, and I'm so sick of, no offense, but people like Daniel justifying and saying, oh, it's okay, it's nothing serious. She's never looked for her kids. It's not okay. This is not okay, folks. This is not okay. Not at all.
He is. Let's just say she does have a boyfriend. Let's just say that's the big, deal here. What difference does it make in what business of anybody else's? When I'm
out here working and I'm investing tens of thousands of, well, I didn't invest tens of thousands of dollars in this case, but when I invest my time, my heartache, my sweat into cases for children, and I find out that their own mothers are not, that's my business. That's the world's business. I'm not going to have anybody shame me into saying that is not our business. You have missing children. You are stealing from the taxpayers with all the resources being taken away. By God, we have a right to ask questions. Okay? I'm not a taxpayer in Canada, right? I'm a taxpayer here in the United States, but I'm investing my time in this case. I have a right to ask questions. Okay? I'm not going to be shamed by anybody saying I don't have a right to know. When you're missing children and nobody can tell you where your children are, and you're out screwing people and partying, I think it's everybody's blessed business. Okay? And I think we all know that, right? We have the court of public opinion. And when you have made yourself a limited public person, well, your privacy is gone. All right? You get a little bit of it, but your privacy is done. So, Daniel, if you want an answer from Bullhorn Betty, you damn right it's our business. I'm sorry you don't feel the same, but, to each their own. Bless you.
Does it have to do with Jack and Lilly disappearing? And that's kind of what I was saying beforehand. I was like,
really? See, that's wrong, Daniel. That's wrong. That's wrong. How do we know this doesn't have to do with the reason why those children are missing? I mean, she went from being a mom of 3 to being a mom of none. Now she's footloose and fancy free. How do we know that this is not part of it? How do we know that this guy wasn't already in her world beforehand? Dismissing those things or making some terrible assumptions that I'm not willing to make as a true crime content creator and investigator. Just saying. I think it's sad. We know everything is questionable. When children are missing, a person's life, the parent's personal life is questionable. Okay, it's up for public consumption at that point. You don't want your life up for public consumption. Don't lose children. Don't be a shitty parent, and don't be trending on TikTok or YouTube. Those are great ways not to have the whole world in your business, but once we're here, baby, we're here. We ain't going nowhere. And Daniel knows this.
If she's come across somebody else, I mean, let's think about this. She's lost her, her family, her kids. Another child of hers is Meadows and CPS.
Exactly, Daniel.
Daniel has... her relationship with Daniel had fallen apart. She's probably in a very vulnerable position, seeking companionship and somebody not attacking her like she's been attacked online.
All right, Daniel, let me just give you my My 2 cents. She a ho-ho-ho, okay? She a ho-ho-ho with a glass pipe hanging out of her mouth, okay? I don't like her. I think she's a piece of shit. I think she has a lot of questions to answer. And coddling her and giving her an excuse for this kind of behavior is poor for our society, and it's poor for the true crime genre. I'm sorry, it just is.
I can see how she can have some sort of, relationship there. But the reality is, she was actually, what it sounds like,
it's not good.
I don't want to say hospitalized because it doesn't sound like it was a hospital. I have no idea. But it seems like she's seeking help and has been seeking help for a couple of weeks, maybe possibly hospitalized for a couple of weeks there. And
what, for the drugs? For the drugs, or because she's a batshit crazy woman that probably did something to her children? What is she being hospitalized for? I'd like to know. Does anybody know? If you know why she's being hospitalized, please send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. He might say it here because I only watched this up until about 8 minutes. I think we're going to go up to about 10 or 12 minutes because we got to go back to some statements that Daniel made in another one here. So we'll be going back to that, and then we'll be closing out this show. We will be going back to this, guys. We've got a lot here. We've got a lot here with a lot of our cases, and I expect this evening's show to be really interesting because we truly are going back to the beginning. There's a lot of crap I forgot about in the Sebastian Rogers case that I think has new meaning this day and age, and I'd like to present that to all of you guys, and I'm doing that at 6 p.m. tonight. So if you guys have not gone over to my channel, please consider going over to my channel and getting notified on the Sebastian Rogers case. So it's going to be tonight at 6 p.m. If you guys are interested in the Park case, and that is Rebecca Park. It's the 21-year-old that had her belly mutilated and the child removed. The child is still missing. We will be running that case between 6:30 and 7:30 every single morning until we don't really have anything more probative to go over. And then, of course, this time frame during the day, in the middle of the day, I think we're going to postmark this for Lilly and Jack just to get through some of this stuff. And then we'll probably change this time frame out for Summer Wells or Sebastian Rogers. And then, but for the foreseeable future, we are going back to the beginning of Sebastian Rogers' case. So if you're interested in the Park case, you'll be here in the morning. If you're interested in Lilly and Jack, you're going to be here probably around lunchtime. And if you're interested in Sebastian Rogers' case, that'll be this evening. All right, guys. And that'll be also going on over the next couple weeks. This is going to be kind of our shows for those three cases as we try to get through them as much as possible. So just a little tidbit there.
Like I said, this is not coming from her directly. This is coming from folks who know her, and this has been asked about me, and I asked Daniel about it, and I think I surprised Daniel because I figured out something or found out something before he did. Because when I initially asked him, I was like, "Hey, have you heard of the possibility that Malehya has been in the hospital?" And he had told me, "No, I don't know. I have no idea." Apparently, they had moved their visitation days, and so before they would both visit Meadow on the same day, and apparently that's not the case anymore. She has her visitation on a different day. I suspect it has to do with Daniel parking next to her and she reporting Daniel for handing over the mail. And so I suspect that probably had a lot to do with it, but he had no idea. And then he confirmed, he's like, "Hey, whoever your source is about Malehya being in the hospital for a couple of weeks, they're not completely right. It's not a hospital, but it's for help." And that is what's been going on. So he found.
It sounds like she's getting help for her drug problem. Because a few weeks is detox, 7 to 30 days. Sometimes they do it 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. Help for what? So I'm very interested in this aspect of it. But again, we're finding out new information. Let's not be, Terry, let's be nice. We're very respectful of other content creators that are on this platform, with exceptions. I mean, we have hate channels that are just, they don't deserve our respect, and we will never give them their respect. But Daniel with the Drunk Turkey Show, he's given great interviews. I looked at some of his interviews. I don't necessarily agree 100%. Like, I'm disagreeing with a lot of his statements right here, giving Malehya a free pass for her behavior. I do not give her that same free pass. I'm sorry. I'm a female. Okay. Daniel's a dude. Okay. Guys going and screwing women when they have children missing. I mean, I'm sorry. Guys are idiots. Okay. Guys are idiots. A woman does that? I'm sorry. You guys be, no, sexist. Okay, I'll take sexist. I don't give a rat's ass. Okay? But us women, you out screwing another man with your children gone? Yeah, we don't take too kindly to that. Okay? It might be okay for the dudes, but it certainly is not okay for the women. Okay? It makes me, it disgusts me. Okay? I'm not going to lie about that. That disgusts me. It's unacceptable behavior. It's unacceptable, okay? You want to be a ho, you do it before your children disappear. Once your children are disappeared, well, your ho days are over, okay? Your only job from that point forward is trying to find your kids. And if you can't do that for your kids, well, then you're a piece of garbage, okay? And Malehya Brooks-Murray is a piece of garbage. I don't give a rat's ass if she's going to a rehab center. I don't care what. I don't care. If she's dating a dude, especially if she's trying to get off drugs, they tell you for the first 2 years, don't date anybody, right? 90 meetings, 90 days. I have to think that it's the same rules over in Canada as it is here in the States, okay? So I really do think if she's getting help, it sounds to me like she's getting help for substance abuse. Unless she had a complete, utter meltdown and breakdown and was Baker acted. Which, the way it's sounding, it sounds to me like it's drugs. Sorry, it does.
Found out, however, how he found out, I don't know. But he was able to confirm that aspect. Now, Daniel has had a girlfriend. We're all well familiar with Daniel's girlfriend.
Yeah, and you know what? We expect dudes to be shitty. Okay, especially ones that aren't the real father of the kids that disappear. We expect men to be disgusting. We expect men to lead with their penis and not their head, right? We expect that from men.
Friend, and his situation since the disappearance.
I mean, hell, look at Tom Massey, right? You want to talk about a creep? That man's wife just perished. God knows how she died. She dies, and 2 weeks later or 2 months later, he's getting married to another woman.
Again, oftentimes you'll see where a widower will end up dating somebody or getting married to somebody that was close, that wasn't seen in that light before, or whatever the case may be, because they're going through grief and things like that, and they're in a vulnerable place, in a vulnerable situation. Not saying that somebody took.
Well, we know exactly how Drunk Turkey would handle a stressful situation. He'd go out and find a girl to screw, clearly.
Took advantage of her. But, or Daniel per se, although it does kind of seem like Daniel, to a certain extent, a girl took advantage of him in the sense where he was manipulated. She created fake bruise pictures.
Oh, of course. For a cop, this man gives a lot of free passes. I wish I had a cop like that in my days. I wish I had such an understanding cop back in my days. When I was 20 and I just really needed somebody to understand where I was coming from, I just needed somebody to understand. That's all. I bet you half of those pictures the hate channels pass around about me wouldn't be there if I just had an understanding officer like this man right here. Daniel, you're my favorite cop. Where were you 20 years ago? I'm seriously asking for a few friends. Where were you 20 years ago? I could have used a cop like you. You would have saved me tens of thousands of dollars. Literally. Seriously, you would have saved me tons. All we just need is just an understanding officer. If I lay down, will you draw me a chalk line, officer? Would you like hands up? Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. I just needed an officer to understand, man. I just needed an officer to understand. Officer, I was just having a bad day. You know how it goes. That's why I got behind the wheel and chose to drink while I was drunk. I drive while I was drunk, officer. Why, you understand that, don't you? Don't you understand the feeling of just having everything? Come on, officer. Do I have to go to the pokey? Please. I just need a Daniel in my life to understand. Okay, well, in the real world, people aren't this understanding, okay? Especially law enforcement. These are things that we call coincidences, right? And there are no coincidences in these types of crimes. Everything has a meaning. Did these kids go away because they were sick and tired of them? They couldn't handle them anymore? Now she's off going to the beach, which she probably hadn't been. I don't see her and Daniel going to the beach. Do you guys see her and Daniel going to the beach? Now she's going to the beach. Now she's partying. I don't see her and Daniel partying. They were too busy in those bathrooms, sneaking out looking out the blinds and shit in that shitty ass trailer. She didn't get a chance to go out and have some fun. Now she gets to go out and have some fun. Are we sure this isn't the reason why those children are missing? Because I don't want to, mistake something here. I believe all of this is going together. I believe all of this goes hand in hand. A woman that misses her children is the last thing she's thinking about is screwing another man. Okay? You got 2 children. Who the hell can come up for air with all the sobbing you're doing from having your babies missing? Who the hell can sit there and want to get off when you got your children gone? It makes no sense whatsoever. But leave it to a man, and all of a sudden, they all understand this feeling. Y'all need to start leading with your brains instead of the smaller part of your body. This is the difference between men and women. This is unacceptable behavior. For both of them. Daniel as well as Malehya. You guys are so screwed up. You got missing children, and all you guys think about is going out and bopping the next person. What the hell is wrong with you? This is unacceptable. We're not going to take this. It's unacceptable behavior.
And sent it to him so that way he could, feel sympathy for her, so that a relationship could begin, and so that way she can get information from him. So, in a way, I mean,
so the story says. Of course, I'm pretty sure that was all painted by Daniel Martel. Okay.
Was for Daniel, he did get taken advantage of to a certain extent.
Oh, of course. And we understand that.
He also said and did whatever it is that he said and did with Taylor, and I'm sure he's still living with those reminders of that relationship to this day. But for Malehya, her being in the hospital, being broken down, from what I understand, is this was shortly after the searches concluded and nothing was found. And so if
I think she's putting on a show. I really do. Because it implies these kids didn't wander off. Their story is full of shit. That's what it implies. Okay? These searchers not finding these kids, or not even finding one scintilla of evidence except planted stuff, implies that there's some funny business going on from that home. There is not one person in this world that's going to stick their hand in a 60-gallon trash bag when they know that there is a baby inside that home without knowing exactly what they're reaching in that garbage bag for. There was one hole in it, not multiple holes. One. That tells me whoever packed that 60-gallon trash bag, was it Daniel or Malehya? Who was it? Whoever it was is the one that put their hand in that bag. I almost 100% believe that. There is no possibility any other person would know where to put their hand on a 60-gallon bag. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. All right, Daniel, thank you for your opinion in that. I didn't mean to beat him up too much, but you know me. I got my opinions, and we scream around here. We're the loudest show on these streets. And no, that's unacceptable. We do not allow mommies to go out and have great times when they have missing children under suspicious circumstances. And you know what? At the end of the day, real mommies, they don't want to go out and have fun when they have missing babies. So, you know, there is that. We can always tell the good parents from the bad parents, can't we? It's pretty easy to identify, especially in cases like this. Malehya is a bad parent. Malehya does not deserve her daughter. Malehya doesn't deserve anything but doom and gloom. Malehya deserves a freaking jail cell, okay? You want to ask me some questions? I believe this woman did something. Her behavior is what's making me believe that. Her behavior after the fact, much like Chris and Katie's. Much like Chris and Katie's. It was their behavior after the fact that made me believe Chris and Katie knew more, just like I believe her. She knows more because of her behavior, her specific behavior.
6 weeks now since you've seen Lilly and Jack. I just want to ask, how are you holding up?
It's been a long 6 weeks. I know that everybody basically in the world at this point is always wanting to know like what happened.
It's been did something. Yep, I'm one of those people.
From sadness to anger at this point. And I know the RCMP and major crimes are working around the clock trying to piece everything together. And I'm grateful for that. But it always leaves the question, 6 weeks has gone by, and we know at this point they're not in the woods. And where are they?
Did you feel in the beginning that they suspected you?
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
You felt that from the beginning?
Yeah.
But you don't feel that now?
No, I don't feel that at all. I asked for the lie detector exam, the polygraph exam. I gave them my phone. I told them I, do drug tests because there's a lot of rumors online about a drug party. Mm-hmm. I know the person that said those rumors.
I did find out from multiple sources, so I'm going to say it's factual at this point, but multiple sources, and I believe even Daniel Martel may have acknowledged it. But he was. Remember how he tried to say he wasn't doing drugs that day? He was. He acknowledged to law enforcement he's on drugs. That's why they're giving him random drug tests to see Meadow, because he was up front with law enforcement that he was a substance abuse user. So there is that, okay? And again, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he actually admitted it on the Drunk Turkey show in that interview. But I'll have to go back to look. But I do have it by multiple people close to this case, that he acknowledged with law enforcement up front at the beginning of this drug addiction, okay?
And it was just to take the heat off themselves.
Was there any kind of party?
No.
Was there any kind of gathering that
No.
someone might have thought was a party?
No.
There were no people at the house?
No. Not the night before.
Okay, you mentioned you offered to take a
night
polygraph
before.
test.
Yeah.
Did the RCMP take you up on
Not
that?
the night before. You heard him say that. Not the night before. So that means that they have had people inside that home. And it sounds like recently, because he specifically said not that night. He could have just said no, right? But he didn't. He said no, not that night. Not that night.
Yes, it did.
And how did that unfold?
That unfolded in my favor. They obviously know I wasn't lying about anything.
So they said, yep, great, thank you, come in
Yeah.
for a polygraph test.
Yeah, it took a little while to set up, and
When did you do that test?
I don't know the exact date, but that would be at least 3 weeks ago, probably.
So roughly 3 weeks after the disappearance.
Yeah.
And I think
So this happened about 6 weeks after their disappearance, this interview here. And then 3 weeks prior to that is when one of the polygraph. From my understanding, every person has taken multiple polygraphs. Daniel has taken multiple polygraphs. What's her face has taken multiple polygraphs. Something triggered Malehya going to this rehab, whether it was for mental health purposes or substance abuse purposes, we don't know. We just know that she went to some type of rehab facility of some sort, mental rehab or substance abuse rehab, or a combination of both, just recently. Okay, so it sounds like, if you guys remember, we bring them home or whatever. There was a nonprofit, Please Bring Me Home, or something like that, in Canada. That's a nonprofit that helps search and has brought missing loved ones, reunited missing loved ones with their family. They have a good track record, and they decided to get involved in this case. And they lean heavily on volunteers in the area as well as some of their team members. And they came out and they wanted to hit this before the brutal winter came upon Nova Scotia. And so they went out there to look, and they were hopeful to find something of the kids, something to show that the kids wandered off, something. Because mind you, nothing has been found to link these kids anywhere in that forestry. They simply vanished. So in my opinion, there is no evidence of an abduction, because there's only one way into that area and one way out of that area, and there's cameras on both ends. So I have to imagine that they've identified anybody coming and going from that area in that time frame, period. Okay? So I think that's how they were able to eliminate that there was no possibility of an abduction, a stranger danger abduction. That's what brings me up to the neighbors. Could a neighbor have done this? And the answer would be yes. I do believe it's either them or a neighbor. It's not going to be some random person passing through the area. It's going to be somebody that's right there, that were right there at the time, that had the opportunity. Now, as far-fetched as that happens, I do lay about a 10% chance on that being the case, okay? 90% of my opinion is either Daniel or Malehya, or both, are responsible for why we are here, okay? That is my opinion. That is my opinion based upon the facts that have been provided to us by the RCMP and other eyewitnesses, okay? Such as Cheryl. Cheryl's the one that found the pink blanket in the tree. She's the first one that believed it was planted.
Most Canadians wouldn't have any idea what's involved with that. Can you describe the process? You go in and just tell us right from the start.
We go in, sit down in a big comfy chair, and they have multiple sensory pads. You have them underneath your forearms, you have them underneath your butt, and you have them underneath your feet with your shoes off. You have a sweat gland on one finger. You have a measuring instrument for blood flow that goes in and out of your hand, and you have a cuff on your arm for blood pressure to measure your pulse.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was extremely nervous. Especially with the first question they asked you, did you kill Lilly and Jack?
And I will tell you guys again, that question to me was an improper question right out the gate. The very first question should have been, did you kill Lilly? The second question should have been, did you kill Jack? Did you kill Lilly or Jack? Did you kill Lilly and Jack? Either one of those two questions are improper for a polygraph examination. I really think that Daniel did something, but she knows what happened. Well, she left awfully quick, and she didn't want anything more to do with him after the first day. Period. Okay? So those are telltale signs. What is it telling us? I don't know. It could go both ways. It could be that she knows her gig's up and she just wants to distance from Daniel and just let Daniel hold the bag for her, whatever. Or, he had something more, he was more involved and she knows it and she wants nothing to do with him because her kids are gone. But if that was the case, you would think a mother would be ready to tear his head off. Because I'm telling you, for me, if somebody touched a hair, hurt the hair on one of my grandchildren's head, I pity the fool. Okay? I will tell you just like that. I pity the fool. it just, I don't know if I would contain myself. And I can't imagine a mother being able to contain themselves knowing that a man hurt their child. If you are in arm's reach of that man, you are going to have your hands all over that man. Okay. And I'm going to tell you this, you're going to say, Betty, we don't believe in violence. I'm telling you, you think somebody hurts your child, you're going to be uncontrollable. Okay. It's not going to be something that you think about. You're just going to be on top of them. Okay. You are going to be on top of them, beating the crap out of. You don't know where it comes from. It is psychological. Okay, it's literally diabolical. It's just like that. You find out about it, you're like a wild hyena. You just jump. You don't know where it comes from. Okay, and it's believe it or not, when you hear information, it is normal. You know, they even have laws built into our criminal code for something just like that, where you learn of information and you attack somebody. It's because it's so shocking that you have instinctually a flight or fight mechanism in your body, okay? This is without a doubt, this is scientifically proven. You have a fight or flight mechanism in your body. Something triggers that, okay? And there can be some shocking information that triggers you to attack. And it doesn't mean you're crazy. You are at that moment. And that's the temporary insanity, you know, that people sometimes walk on cases for. And there are very specific elements that go with that temporary insanity. But I'm telling you, a mother that loses two of her kids and finds out that it's the man that she's been dating that did it, I don't think that you're going to, I don't think anybody would think anything different if she jumped right on his butt. Because again, some of these things are, you have no control over the actions of your own self in many of these cases. And you're talking about stuff like children, babies being gone. Moms feel that. This mom doesn't appear like she's feeling that. That's my problem. Okay? This mom doesn't seem like she's feeling what we know she should be feeling. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we're at, in him as well. You know, their demeanor is not right. Their demeanor is not right. Now, let me just express this to you, because we have a lot of defense attorneys that like to manipulate us and tell us that people grieve differently. Okay, and I express to you guys that, yeah, that is true, in part. People grieve differently because sometimes people have something wrong with them, okay? Some people have disabilities where they produce no sweat. They produce no eyeball water. They have dry eyes. They're not going to be ones that are going to be crying immediately. But they still show emotion. There are some mental illnesses out there or some disabilities that don't allow you to express emotion. Not that you don't have emotion, but they don't allow you to express emotion. So there are people that grieve differently, but for the majority of us, but for the rest of us, but for all of us that are normal, that don't have these physiology type of problems with our bodies or psychological problems with our bodies, we're going to be grieving normally like everybody else. But it's all too often that we come into these criminal cases and everybody wants us to believe the reason why the parents aren't showing emotion is because they grieve differently. That is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. It's untrue. It's untrue. I'm not going to allow that untruth to penetrate my audience here. I'm going to educate my audience. Yes, that's what defense attorneys say in court. But the reality of it, just like the polygraph examinations, is the polygraph examinations are mostly true, right? There are a percentage of them that are false positives and false negatives. That's why they're not admissible in the court. But the reality of it is these polygraph tests are are a lot more accurate than the defense attorneys would like to make you believe. So now that is partial, right? Because a law enforcement officer told me that. And we have to, acknowledge that that may be his opinion versus a factual statement, because they're not admissible in a court of law. And we have to remember that. We have to remember that. Narcissism is real. Yeah. Dry eye syndrome. Yep. Hey, peeps. Hey, Blacklisted. It's nice to see you, love. She's thinking about herself, not her children. That's it. That's why I don't like it. You're exactly right, Rebecca. These are the things that we just don't like. Anyways, guys, these are the things. We're going to still keep covering the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Before we go out, actually, you know what? Let me come back here. I think we have just a few more minutes. Let's listen to Daniel real quick before we close out, because there's more here.
If, she had something to do with her kids and nothing was found in the search, why would, she have a breakdown?
She would have a breakdown because the noose is tightening. Okay. And I get that, but that's the reality of it. As more and more time goes by, the truth starts being clearer and clearer. Okay. And in some of these cases, like with Malehya, as the noose tightens, it's the pressure is too much. I believe she knows more information. Listen, guys, I'm not opposed to her being responsible for it either. Okay. And there's a few reasons why I say that. She was going through postpartum. We heard stuff that she wasn't really, she kind of tapped out when it came to Jack and Lilly. She wasn't disciplining him anymore. She wasn't really doing much with him. She was just very blasé with the kids. If they went out, they went out, even though she says that we go out with them. We heard that she was not going out with them. It was Daniel that would go out and sit with them, that she just pretty much checked out from their life. So I'm not convinced that she didn't do something to these children, okay? So I don't trust anybody in this case. I don't trust Daniel. I don't trust his mother. The only person that I find the most truthful out of all of this, that really isn't coming here with the bull crap or trying to lie, is Belinda Gray. She told us about her son, right? She told us that her son, she didn't agree with her son just checking out and not wanting anything to do with his children or Malehya or deal with the custody and stuff like that. She was honest with us. It didn't make her look good. It wasn't her decision, but it didn't make her or her family look good, and she was very honest with us about it. And I feel like she's been the most honest with us about everything when it comes to this case. I wasn't really in with, who was it? His cousin. What was her name? Well, I want to say Jordan, but I don't feel like it was Jordan. But Cheryl and the other girl that was Daniel's cousin, something Mackenzie, I can't remember, or maybe it was Mackenzie, I don't know. But either way, it was this whole, I don't believe them, and I don't believe Cheryl either. I don't believe any of the only person that I truly believe that has been not really doctoring information, in my opinion, has been Belinda. Okay, I don't trust Daniel. I don't trust Malehya. I don't trust Janie. The only person so far in this entire story I've trusted has only been Belinda Gray. And it's sad because she's out in left field too. She doesn't have a whole lot of information, but she told us how she felt, how everything was that day out there searching for the kids. And she also told us how she felt when she saw Malehya take off and never come back. She knew there was nothing left for her to do. I mean, that's got to be pretty shocking to hear from a grandmother. She knew the kids were gone when Malehya left. And that we have to remember. Malehya left. Malehya left. Not Daniel, Malehya. Malehya, she's the one that hid out. She's the one that went on the run. Let's not forget that. The RCMP and the from her, okay? This is not, in my opinion, normal. She's the one that's been running this entire time, folks. I'm not convinced that she has nothing to do with these children, that Daniel did it, that Daniel's the most likely person. Daniel's still there. Daniel's still fielding questions. He may know what happened. He may have helped her hide whatever, but he's still fielding questions. The only person that took off and has been on the run since the day after these children were reported missing is their mother. Okay? That's the reality of this story. And for everybody to keep looking at Daniel and saying, Daniel this, Daniel that, I don't trust the man. But let's face it, he's still there. She's not. So I believe Malehya has what it takes to harm her children. And she showed us each and every day since these children have been missing that she does have that ability. Look how cold-hearted she has been. She removed her children, the only advertisement of her children, all different angles of her children, off the only social media platform she had, which is Facebook. She removed them all. Who does that when you have missing children? Why isn't she out there constantly putting up missing person flyers? Why isn't she out there posting missing person flyers? Why isn't she out there knocking doors? Why isn't she out there at the stores at both ends of her road that have cameras, asking them what did they see on those cameras? What mother just packs up and leaves and never turns around, never even bothers looking in the rear view? Malehya Brooks-Murray. It's disgusting. So, sorry, Daniel. I'm not down like 4 flat tires with this behavior. I'm just not. And I'm not giving her or Daniel a free pass. They're both wrong. When you have missing children, who can find comfort in anything, let alone spread their damn legs? I don't understand that. I mean, I can understand if you had an uncle, or a mom or a dad. But your own children?
I think that
it's starting to look that way.
This is just opinion and speculation too.
It's starting to look that way.
But a lot of people have been wondering, where are these feelings from Malehya? These motherly feelings? Where are the outcry? Where's the anger? Where's all this stuff? Where's, she doesn't seem like she cares. Well, I mean, if she's been hospitalized for a few weeks, that's real. That's real.
Oh, stop it! He must be trying to get her on his show. That's got to be what he's doing. He's got to be. There ain't no way. You're talking about this. He just put this out 17 hours ago. Okay, I watched it live. So these kids have been missing since May, and you're talking about something that just happened in the last few weeks. Cut it out, Daniel. Cut it out. Okay. I like you. Please don't make me not like you. Right? Cut it out. No. Where was her motherly instinct on the day that her children disappeared? Where was her motherly instinct on the week that these children disappeared? Oh, that's right. She was too busy, what, running off? Going on the run, fleeing with her other daughter? To the point that law enforcement had to track her ass down and take her kid from her? Cut it out. Cut it out. This is not normal. We're not going to play this is normal. He's got to be trying to get an interview. That's the only thing I can think of. And, sometimes you got to play the game to get what you need, right? So I'm not going to knock him for that, but that's just an assumption that I may be completely off base with that as well. But he seems to be overly nice to Malehya, and there is no excuse for her behavior at all. None. None. Daniel, I'm going to tell you, I don't think the lady's going to talk to you. Okay? She's got a lot of shit to hide. Okay? You can keep giving her, but the more that you're dishonest with your audience, the more how hard it's going to be to walk that back later when you need to walk that back. We can be respectful to people when we interview them, but we're not going to lie to our audience about the situation. We're just not. And this is inexcusable behavior. This is inexcusable behavior. We are not going to justify it. We're not going to encourage it. We're not going to enable it. Both of these people, Daniel and Malehya, you're wrong. You're wrong. These children deserve more. They deserve better. They deserve a lot better than this crap here. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And please don't forget, we do have another show coming up this evening at 6 p.m. We will be going over Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We're going back to the beginning, folks. I've been trying to clean out my phone, and I came across some stuff that I didn't want to move over to iCloud because, well, I forgot about it. And I think it has a little bit of new meaning this day and age. Her kids go missing in May, and she's at the beach in June. Yeah, exactly, Astro Train. You know, we're not playing this. Like I said, I think that Daniel's trying to soften the blow so he can get Malehya up there, because at the end of the day, it's just getting them to talk, right? And so we need Malehya talking. Malea's the one that's been silent this whole time. She's holding a lot of information. Obviously, it's really eating at her mind, body, and soul, because she just took a trip to a rehab facility, either for substances or mental health. Either way, obviously something's eating at her. It doesn't seem like it's eating at Daniel, just quite like it's eating at her. And she is the one that has been on the run since this case began. So it's time to start looking at Malehya. Not Daniel, Malehya. She's the one that is on the run. She is the one that refuses to fight for her kids. She's the one that's went into hiding. These are major red flags, folks. So why aren't we holding Malehya Brooks-Murray accountable for her actions? Well, here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, we are going to do just that. We are going to hold her accountable. We've held Daniel Martel accountable, right? While dismissing the mother. Her behavior is no longer dismissible. She's wrong. What she has done is wrong, and it looks guilty as hell. Yet we're looking and focusing on Daniel Martel. It's time to turn the page. Malehya Brooks-Murray has a lot to answer for, and she's been hiding. She has been hiding. All right, guys, we will see you back here at 6 p.m. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you found something valuable in all of this. Please, if you guys have any questions, any perspective, reach out to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Let me know how you feel. Let me know, is there something we're missing in this case? Am I not looking at a specific angle in this case? Is there some more areas that we can explore when it comes to the Lilly and Jack case? Reach out to me. Again, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you at 6 p.m. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. See you soon. See you soon.